Hello and welcome everyone to Anime Declassified. Today we have directors of the NerdCon convention. They are running their fifth show in 6 years coming this October from the Eagle Point Recreational Sports Complex in Bellevue, Texas. Uh, Welcome Cassie, James, and Jerry. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, well, I think we're doing really good. I am going to say it's Mont Belvieu, Texas, though.
Mont Bellevue. My apologies there.
it
But yeah, doing really good.
happened.
Glad to be here.
It
Why
happened.
don't we let Jerry and Cassie, though? How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. Everything is going fantastic. We're just happy to be on this podcast with some good old friends, and happy to share the word of NerdCon and bring our message to the public. Cassie.
Yeah, same. Super excited to be here. My first podcast ever, guys. So super excited to be part of this and excited about NerdCon and to kind of share a little bit about our facility and the community and the event.
Awesome.
That's awesome to hear. Hopefully we don't scare you away from podcasting in the future then.
No, they'll be fine. Just a little connection for those of our listeners back home. James and Jerry and I actually hosted a panel at Comic Palooza 2023 this year called Toy Stories and the Universe of Play Panel. If you want to listen to that, that's Mission 62 of our podcast. So definitely check it out because that was a fun time.
It was definitely a fun time.
Yeah, you guys. I'm going to say, Jerry and I do so many podcasts. We do so many panels together at Comic Cons. We've done at Comic Palooza and Beaumont Comic Con, and so we kind of feed off each other all the time. But Riz, I got to say, man, you came out there and you just had some great opinions and you just knocked it out of the park. And it was such an honor and a pleasure to get to podcast with you and to panel with you and now to podcast with you and to get to bring our friend Cassie along and to get to meet Miguel. So. Right. It's a great night, man.
Dude, I'm excited, man. I feel like I've known you for years, James. And it's only been less than 6 months. I mean, I met you at SciFiCon this past year, and I've just run into you at almost every convention in the great city of Houston since then.
Yeah, well, I only hang out at the cool conventions, so you've been hanging out.
Oh yeah, of course. So yeah.
So, guys, tell us a little bit about NerdCon. How did you all kind of come together, or how did you get this idea to start a convention?
Well, first it started with Cassie flying in from a helicopter from the sky. When she landed, no, that's actually not how it happened. But so I guess from the beginning of the beginning, I run a con called the Eastern Room Funny Book and Vintage Con in Baytown, Texas. We're a comic books focused con, and through that, at some point in time, there was some folks that we were friends with, and I was friends with James at the time, and they got a hold of James.
Yeah, that was way back in the day when we were friends. So
yeah. Well, we're still friends, obviously. Her name was Desiree, and she gave James a call, and basically she said, "Hey, I volunteer over here at this library in Mont Belvieu, and if you're doing all these cons, you should come and do something over here." And at that point in time, James gave me a call, and I'll let him take the story from here.
Yeah, so I go out and I meet the staff of the library. Desiree hooks us up, and she's like, we were thinking of doing some kind of author event or whatever. And so I have zero knowledge of how to run a Comic-Con. I only know that I have a Facebook group that's pretty cool called Nerdfest. And so I go out and I meet the library, and Jerry's running late. And I call Jerry. I'm like, dude, come help me out with this. We're buds. You've done this before. Come help me out. And we go up there to the library, and of course Jerry's running late, and I'm talking to the library ladies, and they're like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And I'm like, we can do this in 2 weeks, ladies. Let me tell you, we can get this whole entire convention and have this place full of people in like 3 weeks tops. And fortunately Jerry showed up about 15 minutes into it, and he's like, okay, first off, he's an idiot. Here's what we really need to do. Let's make this a winter convention. Let's take about 4 months to build this up. And so we made it happen there at the library, thanks to Jerry's expertise and, our crazy ability to promote. We had no budget. I was making these crazy videos, and Jerry and my kids and some of our friends from Nerdfest came out, and they helped us out with these crazy videos, and we put them all over social media. And we kind of, every social media group that we could find in the Mont Belvieu, Baytown area, Chambers County area, we were hitting them up with come out to see us, come out to NerdCon. It'll be a lot of fun. initially we were kind of looking at names. We were thinking Eagle Con or something like that. And one of the friends of the library, suggested, why don't you call it NerdCon, which I was personally pulling for NerdFest, but NerdCon was good too. And yeah, we put on our show. It was raining, and we had about 300 people show up. And that's when we realized, that the library was probably not going to be a viable long-term option for us. And the library lady, so Jerry and I thought there was going to be no second convention, honestly. And when we showed up for the next year for the meeting, Jerry got there before me, and he came out and met me in the parking lot. He's like, dude, they are so excited. They want to do this. And at that point, we got the city involved. Brian Ligon from the city came out, and we were like, what can we do here at the library to make it bigger? And he goes, I got an option for you. Let me look into it.
Before you go into that, James, let me say a couple of things about that. So, just to be clear, cons, because I've been to probably, I don't know, in the last 6 years, probably about 400 cons, little cons, big cons, all kinds of cons. Because I'm at a con almost every weekend, because that's part of what I do. In terms of pushing NerdCon, Eastern Rim, and the other events that I help out with. So, just to be clear, we're way on the other side of Houston. Okay, in fact, even further from Baytown.
Still within driving distance from anybody between Houston and Beaumont, though. Just putting it out there.
So essentially, we're out in the boondocks. People think of us and they think, okay, that's way out there, very far. So on that note, the night before there was a huge deluge that occurred. So there was flooding everywhere. It was cold. It was rainy. Like James touched on, it was probably about 43 degrees. And in the time of that one day in the library, which we had very limited space, we had about 25 vendors and maybe 2 like nerd groups there. We had about 350 people come through the door. Okay. Now, just to explain something, a show, just like a little show, a little collector showcase, for it to be successful, 150 people is a lot of people. Okay. 80 to 100 is what is the average for shows like that, which is what our show was. We had 350 people come through the door. And because it was cold and rainy, and because there was a big flooding the day before, I think it helped us in the sense that we couldn't have handled any more people. And the amount of people that were there were the maximum we could take. Anything after that, we would have just exploded. And so right from the get-go, we were absolutely on point with what we were doing because of the community buy-in. And people just barely heard about it, just, here and there and on Facebook or by word of mouth. And they showed up. And so that lets us know the type of community that we're working with, a community that is invested, that cares, and that has its heart set in what we're creating. And so with that, we realized that we have to go somewhere else. And as James was saying, Brian Ligon got involved and said, go ahead, James.
Yeah, he was like, you know what, let me look into this. And he comes back to our next meeting and he's like, guys, how'd you like to do this at Eagle Point? And the rest is history. I mean, we have grown every year. I think that first year we did 1,200. Then unfortunately COVID hit and we came back and we did 12 again. And last year we did just shy of 1,500 people coming through the door. And I think that's the appropriate time to bring in Cassie, because, we can talk about all the venue stuff, but Cassie, what was it like for you for your first NerdCon? And how did you feel when your boss, Jason, came on and said, Cassie, you got to help make this thing a reality?
Yeah, running a 22,000 square foot facility, we do lots of sports programs and youth programs. And so this was definitely out of my realm. With my boss, Jason, Cassie, jump on in. You're now on the NerdCon team. I said, okay, great. I love me some nerds. What am I getting into?
Just to be clear, he was trying to get out of it, right?
No, but he threw me in and, I'm always up for the challenge. So, that first NerdCon, we do host our basketball courts. We put it up. We fill that place with people, have people coming in and out. And that first going to be, my word, the amount of memorabilia that they were selling. It was just such a fun experience. And it was way more than I expected. When my boss said, just, have fun at this little event, it was no little event. So super fun to be a part of. I love bringing a bunch of different people that normally wouldn't visit our facility into the facility, and it's a really fun day.
Yeah, I think what Cassie's saying is typically nerds don't see the inside of a gym.
I gotta say real quick, guys. So, a little lesser known fact about Rizwan is when I was still living in Lafayette, Louisiana, before I moved to Houston, I used to run a library convention as well with our local university anime club. We called it All Day Anime. It was once a year in the summer, but ours was geared towards, I think, the ages of 8 to 18. So mainly we're looking at kids, wanting to give them their first introduction to conventions and provide them a safe way to do it without, having to go to the big things like SciFicon or MechaCon or at the time Louisiana. Um, so I have a lot of respect for you guys starting out this way because I come from that kind of world as well, and I understand how that can go. Of course, we never got anywhere near your numbers. I mean, at most, we probably got 50 or 60 kids in the room at one
But
time.
you're
So,
impacting them in a positive way, and I got to kudos to you for working with a community organization to do that.
Mhm.
That's one of the things that I'm really proud about with our DNA at NerdCon, and even with Eastern Rim. Jerry works with other nonprofit organizations. He works with another library, but being able to work with the Chambers County Library, who is all, and as a group, they are all about community engagement and community involvement. And so getting to bring them in and to share that excitement. And when you go to a library, the books are free, right? It's free to check out
yeah,
books. It's free to check out movies. NerdCon has that same philosophy. We want it to be free for people to enter. Because I remember when I was, I have a pretty good career now, but back in the day, I was working security and I couldn't afford to go to conventions. And so I'd never been to a convention. And one year my wife says, let's just put aside some money and we're going to go. We're going to go to Space City Comic Con. And we did, and we had a great time, and I was sold on it. And what our hope is that there are families out there who can benefit from coming to a free show. And then they can enjoy getting to meet celebrities. And if they have those limited resources, they're not spending their first $200 just to walk in the door, but that they can actually
yeah.
get something to engage their kids, meet one of their heroes like Keith Coogan, and just really have that good time and get to really kind of tour such a beautiful facility. I'm going to tell you, the one thing I love about Eagle Point is it is a great, very comfortable, easy, accessible facility that if you're a cosplayer, the changing rooms are amazing. They are so comfortable and big, which is something you don't see when you go to a big convention center. But I love
Hmm.
that spirit that you were doing. And that's really kind of encompasses what we're about at NerdCon is that building the community. And I think that's why we're so successful. When you look at the really good conventions, like you look at SciFicon, and I'm talking small market conventions. You look at
Yeah,
SciFicon, you look at Bell County Comic Con. These are cons that build their reputation within their community and grew outward. And so that's one of the things that we're trying to do. Yes, we market to Houston. Yes, we market to Beaumont. Yes, we market to Lake Charles. We go everywhere and we give out flyers. But our main focus first is Mont Belvieu, Chambers County, the surrounding communities like Baytown, Dayton, Liberty, bringing those people into and coming into our show and making it something they feel like is theirs. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I think that's what you did with your library convention. So super, super.
exactly.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, for us, it was just a way to feed our anime club pipeline as well. And also, one thing I'm really proud of with our little library con was every year I would run a convention survival guide panel where I would just tell them the ins and outs of how do you go to your first con, what are the things you got to be thinking about. I make it kind of fun. I joke with them. I say, look, I know y'all want to go running with your manga, your anime into the convention and you don't have any plan, no anything, but y'all need a hotel room, y'all need a change of clothes. Just things that I was told at their age, you know.
well, hey,
Of course I
if
had
you still got that, send it my way because we can always take and adapt that resource for us, and we would love to have that
oh
survival guide.
yeah. I still have it somewhere. I can go dig it up. And I mean, hey, if y'all want, I can even present it as a panel at your con this year, next year, whenever you
Hey,
got
hey, you
space
know
for it.
what? I think we could probably fit something in. So if you want to do something, we can work on that.
Yeah.
Do you have a survival guide for con directors? And how quickly can we get Cassie a copy?
Well, I don't have a con guide for that, unfortunately. I just happen to work around a lot of different con directors from all over the country, so I know the business inside and out at this point.
Hey Riz, I
Right.
had a question for you. How
Yes,
many
sir.
years did you have? How many years did your con go on for?
Oh, let's see. So it originated in 2008, I want to say.
Hmm.
And the last time we had it was either 2018 or 2019. I think
Wow,
2019 because I think COVID killed it.
gotcha.
And then I
That's
moved
fantastic.
away, so I don't
Okay,
think anyone really took it up after I moved.
gotcha.
I mean,
Riz moved to
for a
Houston to
decade,
be a
it's
rocket
still a
scientist.
I
good
wanted
run.
to I wanted to speak on a little bit about NerdCon also in terms of the attendance, because you're mentioning that you had maybe 60 people or whatever, and that for something focused on kids, that's a lot of people.
Oh
you
yeah.
know with us, of course, we market to a broader audience, more folks, kids in particular also, but as well as adults and collectors and nerds in general.
We hit them from 8
um
to 68, right?
More like 1 to 120. But
Right.
one thing that I did want to mention is that all the numbers that we're talking about, like we had almost 1,500 last year, basically 1,500. The year before that, we had about like 13 and 12. Now, I want to point out that this is all in just one day. This is a 1 day con. So, in 1 day, we had 1,500 people come through the door, and in 1 day, we had 1,200 people come, or 13, about 13 the year before. So, just to be clear, that we expect between 17, 18 to possibly 2,000 to come through the door this year, because of the fact that we've stepped up our game. We have some tremendous guests. Our marketing is on point. We're getting on every podcast and everywhere, shouting from every hill. And I really feel that the amount of buy-in that we have from the community, like what you're talking about there with your con, Riz, is palpable. Because I'll put it to you this way: not last year, but the year before, we had an absolute just drenching. And I'm talking about, it rained for probably about an hour and 20 minutes. Now, I sat there, and of course, as a con director, something happens, you're going to go and watch to see what happens. So I watched through that whole hour and 20 minutes people with paper and plastic and umbrellas and their costumes held over their heads, running in through the doors to come into the con. And in fact, the funny and ironic thing is, whenever it stopped raining, that's when people stopped going through the doors and slowed down just a little. So the buy-in that we have from the folks at and the community from Barbers Hill, from Mont Belvieu, is absolutely tremendous. And we really feel like they've taken this in, and they know that this is their con, and they're very proud of their place, proud of their city, proud of their community. And we feel so honored that we're a part of that pride, that proudness that they feel for the community. And in that, I know that we're going to serve people even in a better and greater capacity, not just through being able to work through the library, not just through Nerdfest and Eastern Rim, not just through our community partners, but especially for the fact that we are at Eagle Point Recreational Complex, and the fact that it's beautiful. And it's beautiful. When I say beautiful, it is fantastic. When you go into the gym, they have all this natural lighting, and people always comment about how wonderful it is. And so, in that, I know that our community is going to step up and be a part of it as we continue further down the years. And we're just so happy that we're able to talk about that with you and have you be a partner with us in that, Riz, in terms of
Yeah.
making understood and known what we're doing.
And,
So
and,
thank you so much.
one thing I want to be very clear on, and I'll let Cassie speak on this too. It's not just a gym. It's not like you're just passing
No,
by and you're
right,
going
right.
to 24-hour fitness, right? This is they have convention rooms. I mean, they have their own restaurant. It is a
It is a
top-notch
complex.
facility. It is.
It's a complex.
It is a complex.
It's the well-known biggest event that we do at our facility, which is saying something when it's not recreation, centered. So bringing 2,000 through the door is amazing, and that's why we love partnering with NerdCon.
So, Cassie, we've talked about how there's not a lot of nerds that go to the gym, and that, folks, is not actually accurate because I work out pretty frequently. And Cassie, if you've ever seen her, she's like, she's got some serious guns, and I'm not talking about lasers. But Cassie, what do your folks say about NerdCon? What are the people who are typically there for the gym? Have you heard anything from those guys about their impressions of of NerdCon and how that
Yeah.
community is taking to it?
Well, and that's the shocking part about it, right? Is seeing all the faces there that are our gym goers, like, oh, you nerd too? That's amazing, right? It just brings out the kid and everything and everyone. And I think at NerdCon there's a little bit for everybody, right? So it's amazing that we can meet, all people, all types of people enjoy it, and so we love it, and we love to have our grill open, right? As James said, we try to have our
If you want to be
fun to
like
make
strong,
fun.
like not. I mean, you can do it with other techniques too, for like specific.
I think she's froze up on us here.
Like dojo stuff.
I think
Oh,
so.
there
A
she
little
goes.
bit.
Yeah, we were like, I think your audio was
Uh,
breaking in and out. And let's be honest. There's a bunch of nerds at home going, "No, she's the one I want to hear from the most." God,
Exactly.
why are the fat dudes talking again?
No, but you
so
guys mentioned how you've been constantly growing as the years have gone by, as the con's grown in popularity. When you see the numbers and you see, oh shoot, we've hit 1,200 this year. Oh, we're expected to hit 1,500. This year 17 to 2,000. How do you guys kind of mentally and just like prepare yourselves for that amount of traffic you're going to be getting in one day?
For me, and I'll let Jerry and Cassie kind of speak on this because they have different opinions. But for me, the foot traffic, if people are showing up, that's not anything I need to mentally prepare for. It's like I'm just going to turn it on and I'm going to be me. For me, it's all of the junk and the obstacles that get in the way along the journey. And every year there's something new that comes up, and it's like, this is the last year I'm going to do this until after the show. And then I'm like, God, I can't wait to do this again. It's like there's this hole in my life. But for me, the challenge is really, the steps along the way. I'm sure for Cassie, it's the 2,000 people that show up, that were, or, the 1,200 that show up or 15 or whatever. What do you guys think?
Honestly, the more people that come, I think the better it is for everything that we do, for our vendors, for the community, for displaying what Eagle Point is, for displaying Mont Belvieu and Barbers Hill, for being able to sort of showcase everything. So honestly, I look forward to the advancement of people through the doors, because without that, we're not going to be able to grow what we do and who we are and get the word out. Because both Eastern Rim and NerdCon are the alternatives, because we're free to get in and free to park, because you don't have to pay $500, for a family of four before you get in through the door, and we have tasty, delicious food, especially, at the grill there at Eagle Point, and the food is like fantastic. We get
Bellevue
compliments
Burger.
every single year, and in fact, they sell out pretty quickly, I believe, right, Cassie? Towards the end of the day, y'all basically have no food left.
We do, yes, we do.
And,
so
and so with
hold,
that, go ahead.
sorry, I have to ask you this real quick.
Sure.
So NerdCon not only gives you free admission, free parking, you also feed us.
Let's be clear.
Well,
The food is not for
not for
free.
free, but the food is fantastic.
But I mean, the fact that y'all even plan to feed people, and of course we're going to pay you for it, but
Mhm.
the fact that you're even planning, what sounds to me like a barbecue. If you're saying you're grilling, that sounds like, good old Texas barbecue right here. And that to me is amazing that y'all are doing that. Sorry, Jared, I just
Uh,
had to jump in with that real quick.
no,
Though I
absolutely. Well,
think that's great. Though I think the fact you're pointing that out, because when you go to conventions, a lot of times it's either food trucks or there's just they got these Comic Palooza. I love Comic Palooza, but the food options are expensive and they're
well, I like to
They're
call
not
it con,
healthy.
I like to call it con pizza, and so it's basically like $12 for a really big slice of pizza made out of sand and mostly styrofoam.
Hmm.
Occasionally there's a piece of cheese in there, and so yeah, absolutely. And with us, it's not necessarily barbecue. I don't think, like Cassie, like
yeah.
it's like
Why don't we let Cassie
hamburger.
explain the food?
Yeah, Cassie, please explain the food.
Yeah, so we're really lucky. Jerry, his theme, he says he can do black tie to chicken. He does some delicious homemade burgers, chicken stuff like that. And he tries to really whatever we ask and whatever the team decides, then can definitely make it for the people. So And as far as I did want to mention, you mentioned, what makes us nervous about 2,000 people coming in through the facility.
Mhm.
And if you would have asked me that for another event, it probably would make me nervous. But I tell you what, when I got on this team years ago, and I've said this multiple times to James and Jerry, this team knows how to run an event. It is the smoothest thing I've ever been a part of. And we run events every month. I have an event through this it well. The ladies at the library and Jerry and James, I mean, you've got it down pat. It is really the easiest day because it's just fun. The team does not scare me at all. You got it down.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you guys got a well-oiled machine running this for sure.
Well, you know what makes it easy for us though is the fact that we've all kind of got a different focus, and it's not like, we're all trying to cover everything. I mean, Cassie, we talk about the venue. We've had to make some changes this year, and we've done some stuff recently on the fly. And Cassie's like, "I'm on it. I got this." Jerry and I have a lot of the vendors are our friends, the cosplayers are our friends, the artists are our friends, and we've made different connections for meeting celebrities. And I'm really good at doing a lot of the marketing piece, and Jerry's really good at the logistics piece, figuring out layouts, and so our team from the library is fantastic at handling printouts and picking up a lot of slack on things we need and working with the county and keeping it going. So the wonderful thing about NerdCon is, yes, it is a well-oiled machine, but it's because everybody's got their focus and everybody's sharp on it and everybody's really good. And Jerry and I overlap quite a bit, but there's also areas where it's kind of like, okay, this is kind of a little bit more me, and then there's areas where it's kind of a little bit more him. But again, we kind of weave together, and we basically, even if we have differing opinions, it's never one of those things where we're too upset at each other. We're just like, oh, that's what you want to do? Well, I guess so. We find a way to find that common ground.
We work everything out, and the thing is, this is that all well-oiled machines, as y'all put it, that's how they work. Things come up, things get figured out. With no animus or any sort of bad feelings or whatever. Because that's like childish stuff. We're grown-ups, and so as grown-ups, we take care of business. We do what needs to be done, because what's best for the con, what's best for the people, for the community, for our venue, for our partners, and ultimately, like I said, we all handle the different aspects to the best of our ability. And like I said, James is fantastic. With the bombast, the explosion, the representation.
I'm
There
the
to
pyro
set
guy for Whitesnake.
well, the pyrotechnics as well. And so he does a terrific job. Like I said, we all have our jobs, as he said a second ago, and we know what we're doing, and we've done it so many times now that it's just kind of almost second nature. And so that's the other thing as well, being able to repeat and then redo and repeat and redo allows us to be able to have that shorthand in terms of how we're setting it up, how we're doing it, and how we're constructing it. And the other thing we have to mention is the fact that we have some fantastic volunteers. And at our show, at NerdCon in the Eastern Room as well, our focus is having community folks, kids from the community, from the high schools, from different organizations to come and be a part of it. And we make sure that all our vendors are taken care of, not just the guest, mind you. I'm talking about vendors as well. We give vendors restroom breaks. We give them breaks. We have coffee for them. We provide all of these things in what we do, so that way that they know that we care about them and that they matter to us. Because in the end, the vendors are the backbone of any con, period, in the story. If we don't have vendors, you don't have a con. Okay. And ultimately, those vendors know that we care, and that's why they come back year after year after year. And they're knocking on the door. We still have people, saying, "Hey, do y'all have spots available right now at this late date?" And we do not. But we're just saying that that's part of it. And I think that's one of the great things about this con, the division of labor, but also the fact that we come back and form together like Voltron. To handle the gobbledygoos and all the horrible monsters from the universe, because that's what we do. Go Voltron.
Hey guys, I seriously, I love talking about our backstory and how we're like all molded together. But dude, we've got to talk about some fun stuff.
So
Right. And go
I
ahead,
was about
Riz.
to ask y'all, of these amazing guests you have assembled here today, who are you guys most excited to meet? Because I'll tell you my answer.
Hey,
I am over the moon to meet John Morris.
John Morris is cool, but I got to say, like your guests are kind of like, in a way, I have 4 children. I would never confess as to which one was my favorite. So, you know,
Well, we
James.
all know which one it
yes,
is. It's the second.
you know,
It's him. It's
It's
him.
never the
James
middle
is his own
child.
kid. His own
no, but
favorite kid.
look, we've got John Morris, who is amazing. We've got Keith Coogan, Val Mayrick. We have Alyson. Um, we got Phil Parsons. So many incredible guests, and they're all amazing and they're all fun and cool. If I was to pick one, I mean, I'm looking forward to, I think, meeting Mark Price. Um, not that I'm not looking forward to meeting every single person on there, but for me, I was a little metalhead kid growing up, and Trick or Treat was the first heavy metal movie that was going to be it's a horror movie, but it was a heavy metal movie. It had my kind of music, and I kind of identified with Mark's character, and it was just a really cool flick. And once I saw it, it was like it's really hokey and kind of a B movie, but it's super fun and super amazing. And anybody who's ever, I think its message still resonates today. Anybody who's ever been kind of kicked around for what they like, whether it's music or comics or cosplay or being just a total dork or whatever. I think the messaging of the movie really holds true, and that's that if you play your records backward, your favorite rock star will come back from the dead and kill all your enemies. No, of course not. No, of course not. But it's a really pretty cool thing. I think I know who Jerry's going to say is his favorite. Cassie, is there somebody you're dying to meet, or that you're going to bring your kids up and say, you know what, I kind of want to meet that person for them?
No, I think my fun is from seeing how excited y'all get when these guys come in. That's what I want.
Well, I'm not going to lie. Answer. I do some serious butt kissing. Yeah.
Okay, so James alluded to who my favorites are. Well, one of the guys that I'm happy to see again, they actually had him at East Room last year, was Val Mayrick. He's the creator of Howard the Duck and was one of the early folks drawing Man-Thing for Marvel Comics. He's a fantastic guy, super cool dude, great stories. I mean, talking about like when he was in Pennsylvania hanging out with all the gangsters, it's great stuff. John Morris is also a fantastic guy as well. John is actually the first time I met him was over at Hill Country Comic Con, and it was just so cool, and he was very nice. And I literally just, in a lull in his when he had a lull in terms of the people coming to see him, I just walked up and said, "Hey, my name is Jerry. I represent this con. Here's our information. We'd love to have you at some point in time." And he said, "Tell me about it." And I told him what we did, and how we're nonprofit, and we do this for the community, and it's free. And he goes, "Oh my gosh, that's terrific! Yeah, I want to be a part of that. All right." Okay, cool. So how do I hit you up? He goes, get a hold of me on Instagram, and we'll go from there. And he literally was just like that. Then I got a call from his agent, Dakota, which was, probably about a week and a half later. And I know Dakota because he does some client rep at different cons that I go to. One of them is Mark Walter's show in Dallas called Dallas Comic Show. And so we knew each other from there a little bit, and I talked to him. He goes, "Yeah, man." John said, "Yeah, this guy in his beanie comes up and he was like, tell me about this show, and I really want to do it." So I didn't realize it was you, dude. I was like, "Yeah, man." I was like, really happy to have him, And he goes, "Yeah, okay, cool." And it was, everything was just, we went through everything and what he needed, and everything was, very simple, very easy. But John is a fantastic guy. He's very fun. He's very personable, and just like literally like magic in the air, dude. Like seriously, when you meet him, you're gonna have a terrific time with him.
But
and so I would have to say those are the guys that I'm most looking forward to. Although I'm looking forward to everybody, and just because I know them a little bit, and I consider Val one of my friends, and John is, we're friendly. And so those are the guys that I think I'm most excited about. Them and Alyson as well. We have a really cool story with Alyson in terms of Alyson Leigh, who does the voice of the nurse on Pokemon.
Nurse Joy.
And Nurse Joy, there you go. James and I were, what was it, Retro?
Yeah, we were not Retropalooza, but it was at Bacon or Bacon.
Bacon.
Yes.
Yeah, Bacon.
The Bacon.
Okay. And we were at Bacon, and it was really cool. We kind of just walked up and started chatting her up, and we mentioned that we'd like to have her at some point in time. And she was just totally down from the beginning, like right off the bat. And she said, "Yeah, no, that's cool. Well, yeah, I'd love to come. Let me know, blah, 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 blah." And it was very exciting that we were able to get her, and I think you're the one who kind of cinched it all up, James. Tell us about that
Well,
part.
the wonderful thing about Allison is that she is really neat, and she will talk to you, and she's very down to earth, but and very personable. And I absolutely, the first second I talked to her, I was like, this is the kind of engagement. Because one of the things that's really important to us, whether it's vendors, cosplayers, or celebrities, is we want people who are engaging, who are going to talk to you, who are going to make, because experience is everything. And with Allison, I mean, she's so many iconic characters on Pokemon. And then you add to that, she's also the voice of Polly Pocket and Strawberry Shortcake. I mean, those things all right there just fit everything about NerdCon, because we're about anime, and we're also about retro. And, it's a toy show on top of a comic book show on top of an anime show. And so she was just so amazing to talk to. And we went to panel with her and all the other great actors, and many of whom will also be at the show. We've got a few. Phil Parsons was also there. Lisette was there. But she's so amazing. And to play that many iconic characters, and we talked to her about it, and she's like, yeah, I'll come. I'd love to be a part of it. And I really think this is great for us, because I think she's one we really want to market heavily. And I think that there were some opportunities to market her a little bit more, because I think she's just so fantastic and so much iconic, so many iconic roles. And really, I kind of wanted to touch on John Morris for just a second. Because if you think about Toy Story, right, and we all have watched I'm sorry, is there anybody in this room who's not watched Toy Story? Everybody's watched Toy Story. Cassie, I'm guessing you've watched with your kids several times.
Of course.
Absolutely, right? And that's such a great, wonderful family movie, right? But if you think about what a Comic-Con is, right? Everybody who comes to Comic-Con is basically Andy, right? Because we form these wonderful attachments to these things that we have in pop culture as we're young. Whereas for me, it might have been watching, Keith Coogan in, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Or to my son, maybe it's some of the characters, Phil Parsons in Dragon Ball Z, or everybody who's collected Pokemon, or the kids who play with Strawberry Shortcake, whatever. But we all have that thing that we love, and that's what brings us back to Comic-Con, and that's what brings us to NerdCon, because we're really playing upon that, and really wanting to make sure that, we get that happiness, right? And when I can go to a show. And this is one of the things I love about our show, as opposed to some of these, very narrowly focused shows that you go to, because I can go in and see something that I love, and I can take my children and I can see what they love, and we can kind of connect, because it doesn't really matter if you're talking about movies or anime or comics, right? It's all about story, right? Even when you're talking about the toys that we play with, we're creating story. We're creating these adventures. And that's some of what we talked about, Riz, in our panel together.
Yeah.
Is building these universes, and that's what these people represent. Keith Coogan is an incredible guy. I just want to say that he's an incredible guy, but I'm not going there to see Keith Coogan. I'm going there to see Brad from Adventures in Babysitting, right? I'm going there not to see John. I'm going there to meet Andy from Toy Story, right? I'm going to meet Tom McKee. I'm not going to meet Tom McKee. I'm going to meet the guy who was the voice of the zombies in season 7 of One Piece. It's kind of, you're going there to meet your heroes and these people who's have impacted your lives in such a positive way. And so I like to say, we're all Andy at our core, right? It doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl or how old you are. It's all about that thing that you loved that made you feel good. And sharing that with people that you care about. And that's what I think is so beautiful about NerdCon. We have a beautiful facility. We have a great team. And we got cool people, but it's really about boiling down to the things that we all love and connecting through that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
and
Go ahead, Riz.
I was gonna say real quick. Yeah, and James, you hit it on the nail so hard, my friend, because me as a fan, not talking as a person who's been 20 plus years doing anime secrets and a convention life and all that, but as a fan who attends these things for the love of it, one thing I always find very fascinating is how familial these people that we meet feel to us. I mean, I've never met these actors before I go to the con, but if you put me in front of like Aaron Cahill or Jason Font from Power Rangers Time Force, for example, I mean, look, I can talk to them for hours, and I have talked to them for hours just at their tables, because I've built a connection to them through their work and their presence on social media. And, whenever I go to these events, it feels like a family reunion, And I think that's what your guys are trying to build here is that familial connection with your attendees, your vendors, your guests,
And let's not forget
to
the
try and build.
cosplayers too. They're amazing as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I just want to say that real quick. Miguel, I think you're going to say something before I cut you off for the third time today.
I'm used to it by now. You clearly you guys have a lot of passion towards this con. When it's something of your creation, you always want to take care of it. You want to see it grow. So I guess the question I have here for you guys, has the thought kind of crept in of potentially doing more than one day or expanding the con to be, a little bit larger?
Would Cassie be okay with that?
Would Cassie be okay with that?
Now you're pushing it. Now you're pushing.
Maybe we should start a letter writing campaign. Everybody, Cassie's home address is.
Here's her phone number and how you can contact her in every single way.
Well,
Smoke signals are also accepted.
So
I do worry they're packed tight in there. I do worry that our facility is massive, but what happens when we outgrow the space, and that does worry me.
So out of curiosity, how big, like what's your capacity for people in the building?
Yeah, so it's a large building, but the area where the tables are set up, it's suited for about 500 at a time, right?
Mhm.
So that's not comfortable in there with vendors and all their stuff. So it's quite a big area, but able to move around. I think we see about 250 probably in there at a time, and they roll throughout the whole day.
Okay.
I want to say we're very, very fortunate. Would we like to be a 2-day show? Absolutely. But we also understand the constraints of the facility, and they have responsibility to their members. And we're very fortunate to be there. But we also know that the people who pay to come in and use the facilities, they need to be able to have access to that as well. And so, I will say that Eagle Point, the staff, the management there have always treated NerdCon really well and shown us the utmost respect and courtesy, and their staff work really hard and are super polite. And so, honestly, I could not picture us being anywhere else. Would I love to be a 2-day show? Absolutely. But because NerdCon is so into community, and when I say community, I mean not just Chambers County, not just Mont Belvieu, not just the surrounding cities of Baytown and Houston and Pasadena and Dayton and Liberty, and Beaumont, but it's also about the nerd community. And so I get that. We have that buy-in. We're building those relationships, but we want to respect the relationships that Eagle Point also has within their community as well. And so we're just very fortunate that they allow us the facility, and that they work with us and have just been such wonderful community partners and such an amazing facility. And I want to say, working with Jason was great. Cassie is a complete rock star. She is the Michael Jordan of that team. She is, she's like the Pat Riley. She's the coach that keeps it all together and keeps her team running. And she does such an amazing job. And I think there's been no better. The library team, 100% fantastic. Everything is because of them. But adding Mont Belvieu, adding Eagle Point on has been really a huge driver of the success of NerdCon, and we can't say enough about Eagle Point. And so, would we love to have 2 days? Yes. Do we want to encourage you to stop by the Eagle Point table at NerdCon and let them know that you'd like to have 2 days? Particularly if you're a member there, yes, we would like that very much. But we respect their needs and the needs of their community.
They're buttering me up right now. You hear them?
Oh, it's a lot of good butter.
If we can, and maybe we don't have to tell Cassie. Maybe we tell her boss repeatedly at midnight on his phone, and randomly drive by his house and leave things on the doorstep.
You could also just sew up on the second day.
There you go.
Yeah, no.
I do not actually.
Ultimately,
that.
Cassie has been a tremendous steward for us. She's been a steward for the facility and for NerdCon, and any access that we have, it's due to her, and we love her and appreciate her tremendously. And like I said, all I can say is this: that if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Either way, we're going to keep going, and we're going to keep bringing our community partners together to create something valuable and commemorative for the community and both there in the area and beyond. So, like, all I can say is this: is everything is going really well, and we can't do anything without them. And so ultimately, they have been wonderful, and we're going to continue this relationship, and it's going to be absolutely wonderful as we continue.
Awesome. So we've talked a lot about your guest of honors. We've talked about the space and all that. What events do we get in that period of time from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.?
I'm so glad you asked. Hey, listen, man, we are a high energy convention. And, we're going to have this standard stuff that everybody has. We're going to have a cosplay contest, and there's going to be money up for prizes. This year, we're actually going to give out our first trophies, and they are specially designed NerdCon trophies. Desiree Juarez, one of our vendors, is 3D printed them for us, and they're going to be amazeballs. But we also are going to do some things. There'll be panels. You'll have our actors panel, and our actors panel are very interactive. One of the things we do at the end is we do an actor's idol, where you get to come up and you get to do a 10-second audition for the actors, and they can tell you if they would have given you a job, which is really a lot of fun. But throughout the day, we'll also have opportunities where you can kind of interact with the actors a little bit, and we'll play games and things of that nature. Like we might do some toy trivia with Alyson and John or something like that, because they're John's Andy from Toy Story, and Alyson is two iconic toy lines. And then we're gonna there'll be all kinds of fun stuff. We'll do a cosplay parade. We'll give out some door prizes for trivia questions. There's just all kinds of fun things that we're rolling through our heads right now. For panels, we'll probably do a Star Wars, Star Trek panel. What a combined universe look like for those two. And if so that'll be a lot of fun. We've got 2 panel rooms rocking, so we're going to find some great stuff to do. That's going to allow people to interact. Riz is going to do some kind of panel, I'm sure. And so, yeah,
we usually have a writers panel.
Yeah.
We usually have, maybe a panel for comic book guests. We usually have, panels for all sorts of different things. Maybe some cosplay panels in terms of like cosplay 101, that kind of a thing. The other lovely thing is that because we have access to both panel rooms, that we'll be able to sort of stagger them back and forth, so that way that they don't stack on top of each other. So it's going to work out really well. And we're going to have, just like I said, people always throw panel ideas at us, and we always have panel ideas. So there's going to be just tremendous panels, and they're going to be fantastic, every last one.
And we also do one of the things that we really do that I love doing is the cosplay parade, where we march through the aisles, and we have all the cosplayers come up, and you kind of get to see everybody.
Hey, James.
Yeah.
Hey, James. Why don't you tell them who's at the head of that cosplay parade?
Some big nerd.
Yeah, who is it? Tell us.
It's our mascot is usually at the head of the parade. You guys have probably seen him as a green alien. He's
Oh, cool. So you made the costume for it. That's awesome.
Then we will also we're going to have our first VIP experience this year, and we're going to release details on that very, very soon. The VIP experience is going to it's going to be a great and I want to stress, NerdCon is free to attend. It's free to attend. However, if you want the VIP experience, which is a different thing, it's $100. You're going to get the opportunity to hang out with Mark Skippy Price from Trick or Treat and Family Ties. He played Skippy on Family Ties. We're going to watch. There'll be an interaction with him where you can do a little comedy show for about 30 minutes. You'll get to hear some of his stand-up. You're going to get to come to an after event where we'll have a wonderful catered dinner there at Eagle Point, and it's going to be the fabulous chef will have something good. Cassie's going to let us know. I don't even know yet. Cassie, do you even know what the dinner is going to be yet? Okay, she doesn't know yet. And then afterward, we're going to go to the VIPs that have signed up for this incredible package. We're going to go and watch Trick or Treat with Mark Price, and you're going to get to ask him questions, and it's amazing. It's going to be it's perfect it's perfect timing because it's a spooky movie, and we're right knocking on the door of Halloween. And Cassie said she's going to bring her boys, even though it's completely inappropriate for their age group. So
young. Start them young, you know.
Exactly.
Exactly.
They got to learn eventually.
Yep.
No, but it's it's going to be just we want to do so many fun things and I think what makes Comic-Con special is the experience. The things that you buy are great, right? The celebrities you meet are very, very cool, but it's that entire overarching experience. And so when you get to come out, right, and you get to have these, not just sitting and meeting them at a table and having a celebrity sign a picture, but when you get to come and be a part of a panel and you get to go and watch a movie with them, that's something. When the cosplayers are so approachable and they're supportive of each other and you get to strut your stuff on a little stage, that's so much fun. And when you go to the vendors and they're all so nice and friendly and they talk to you about the things that you love, right? And that's Riz. I know you've met me at CypherCon. You've seen our booth at Comic Palooza. You know that's how my family operates when we have our booth out.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of vendors we're looking for, right? We want the vendors that when you walk up and they see you looking at a Power Ranger, they're going to be like, oh my God, I love Power Rangers too. And this is what it's so cool. And you have that back and forth and it creates that moment of memory. And the thing is, not only is it the thing that you love, but now it's tied to another reason that you love it because you had such a good time at NerdCon. You got so many friendly people you got to meet. You got to hang out and eat in the grill with your buds. And, you got to talk to all these cosplayers and you got to interact with these celebrities in a way that was different. And that's what makes NerdCon so special. And it's just everybody there. It's our team. It's Cassie's. Everybody that's working there under Cassie's umbrella. It's the support of the library staff, but most importantly, it's that community. It's both the nerd community and the community there in Chambers County, Mont Belvieu, and the surrounding areas. That's what we're all about. Is just building that, and that's why NerdCon's so special. And guys, if you come out, you're going to have the most amazing time. I have dominated this entire conversation. I think that we've been about 20 minutes of just me talking straight on that one thing.
You're a very captivating individual.
You really are. I mean, like, I've met James now 3 times, and he is the most charismatic person I've ever met.
Well, I don't want to disagree with you, so I won't.
I know a lot of the kids nowadays use my name to indicate that by saying they got the Riz, but guys, James really has the Riz.
And Riz means charisma, by the way, just so everybody knows.
I dig it, man.
all the older people, yeah.
So definitely sounds like you guys got a great community there. Do you guys want to give out, as we're kind of wrapping this up, do you guys want to give out any shout outs to any kind of sponsors or anyone that's kind of helped you continue build this amazing con?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Jerry, you want to take a few, and then I'll take a few. And
Yeah,
then, if Cassie wants to give a shout out to anybody or she wants to tell her kids to go to bed, we can have that too.
So for sure, we want to thank Eagle Point, obviously, Mont Belvieu, City of Mont Belvieu, Chambers County Library, Chambers County, Texas, Sonic. I'll let you go from there. James?
Yeah, and first, let me just say a special thank you to Sonic because they give out free slushy coupons when you come to the show. And they're called flurries. I don't know. They're their icy drinks. They're really good. Best that they can make for sure. We also want to thank MB Link. They've always been a great supporter of ours.
Thank you, Brian.
What's that?
I said thank you, Brian.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Big shout out again to Chambers County Library System, the city. I want to thank Right Stuff Anime. They always send us amazing prizes and have been a great supporter to us. The Retro Exchange, Jorge and his team, they have great facilities out in Houston, and they bring incredible stuff. Alter Ego Comics and Games in Baytown. Sterling and his people are so amazing, and they're going to have a great setup with lots of pops. But he also sells comics and gaming things, so if you're into that, go check that out. God, am I missing anybody? DC Gomez, USA Today best-selling author, DC Gomez. She is a rock star amongst authors, and if you've never met her, she is the nicest human being you will ever meet. I love her. She's beautiful inside and out. She is just the most fantastic person you're ever going to meet. Friends of the Chambers County Library System, you guys are amazing. Big shout out to the Eastern Rim Funny Book and Vintage Con, or let me say to my announcer voice, the Eastern Rim Funny Book and Vintage Con. They are absolutely fantastic. Jerry does a great job with that show, and he allows me to come out there and hand out crap tons of flyers, and we really promote out there well, and really the spirit of Eastern Rim and Nerdfest is kind of married together, and it's helped create this beautiful thing. And then I want to thank all of the members of Nerdfest, the Facebook group, because you guys are so super supportive. They've done so many amazing things to help us grow. And it's a fun group if you're into, pop culture. Right now we're doing a time travel thing. Last week we were in the 80s. This week we're in the 2000s. But we jump around and do different topics, and we talk about it and we discuss it. We do show and tell every Friday. And then, I want to thank my family who runs Nerdfest Texas when I'm out there doing all of the crazy stuff on the floor and trying to keep this the most fun convention you can ever go to. Cassie, is there anybody I'm missing? And again, guys, I cannot say enough about the great staff and the beautiful facility of Eagle Point Recreational Sports Complex. You guys are just so amazing. But Cassie, anything that I missed that you want to call attention to?
Y'all are so nice to me. No, I think you covered it all. Like you mentioned, it's really fun to be a part of. And the city of Mont Belvieu, the Eagle Point is now an extension of the city of Mont Belvieu. So it's really nice to be able to partner with the city, and the city, give NerdCon some FaceTime. So just our community and the library ladies, big shout out to them as well. So thank all of them.
Now, one
Hey,
thing
I
I do
have one
want
more person.
to
I have
go
one
for
more
it.
person to give a shout out to really quickly. Um, and I think she's gone dark, but I want to mention Cassie one last time and give her like a round of applause because, like I said, literally without her, we'd be out on the road in the ditch or something like that. Hang, having NerdCon. Come on, kids, come to NerdCon. There's some crawdads. But like I said, Cassie is fantastic. She is really one of the linchpins for us, and so we can't thank her enough.
And hands
Now,
down, the most adaptable member of our team. No matter what
Yes.
we throw at her, she's like, all right, I got a person for that.
Yeah.
Let's do
Yeah,
it. I'm all about
and she has done
Absolutely.
so amazing this year. We've really had to lean heavy on Eagle Point, and Cassie has been our foundation. She's kept us up, and certainly, we can't say enough about it.
so question for y'all.
Hmm.
Hearing all these amazing sponsors and friends and everyone that's helped y'all, I'm kind of guessing that a lot of the NerdCon back end is built by some kind of county grant or something. Am I wrong about that? Or is there some other funding source
Well,
here?
it comes from three sources of funding, and I don't want to get too much into the money, but we are
Hmm.
funded by the county. We receive funding from the city, and then we receive the fees from our vendors, which are low for a
Right.
Comic Con. And we use all of that money, and our show is nonprofit. We're taking every dime that we take in, and we're filtering it back into the show in one way or another.
I,
Um,
Our
I
business
asked,
our business model is to make no money. Our business
good.
model is literally to take every penny that we have, put it back into the con so we can continue this for next year, so that we can have something for everybody to bring the community together, to be able to allow people to have that connection, that interaction, which is super important. Because in the end, like James said earlier, it's all about family. And what are we if not a grand family, a big family that comes together, has a great time, has the memories, shares them, and comes back together every single year, so that way that we can still connect and still have those chats and those conversations and that interaction that is absolutely necessary to keep the nerd heart and the nerd soul alive.
Awesome. Yeah, and I was just asking that more so to highlight that while you have no admission price, we have so many great people helping to make NerdCon possible.
Hmm.
And that's something I want to highlight to our audience that look, you don't have to pay $100 a ticket to get in the door to hang out and have a great time. With the generous help of Mount Belvieu and whoever else, all the other
Chambers
sponsors you
County,
mentioned,
you know,
Chambers County, those entities are what make something like this possible. And I urge y'all, I mean, our audiences around the country, if you guys are interested in doing something similar, here's your model for how to do it right. You got to have the passion like these guys have, because obviously, like for the last hour now, I've heard nothing but passion, love, and hard work from each of these three people, and that alone deserves another round of applause here, I think. So, y'all have done an amazing job. I'm really excited to come out there in October and hang out with y'all for today. And I know I'm talking to Jackie, our one of our other podcasters right now, via text, and she's very intrigued to come out as well and join us. So,
No pressure.
we're really looking forward to this event. And I just gotta say, look, y'all got something very special here. Because one thing that you said, Sarah, that I take to heart and I love so much about it is I love the convention where it's nonprofit, y'all don't make the money. At the end of the day, it's the labor of love. Because what happens there is you guys are thinking of the fans first, pockets second. And that's the most important thing when it comes to building something like this. You're not there for the corporate, let's get $10,000 per guest, whatever. You guys are here because you want to make sure that the small kid who's never been to something like this before can go and meet their hero. And I think that's fantastic.
Um, and I love that you say that, and I appreciate you saying that so much. There is one guest I want to make sure that we point out before we go, because she is a local hero, and I want to make sure that we give a little recognition to Lauren Harp, who is a Mont Belvieu teacher. But she appeared on CBS Survivor in the past season, and she went pretty far. She didn't win it all, but she's going to be our special guest. And, it's people like her, the educators out there that are really dealing with our children and showing just amazing things that they can do. So I do want to make sure that we mention her and that you guys come out and meet her. But Riz, everything you said means so much to me, and I appreciate it. And, we definitely appreciate the community and the support you guys are giving us. You guys are the best.
So, one last question. Um, I don't think the schedule of events is out yet. When do you think we can expect more information on the panels and everything else going on?
Soon, very
Awesome.
soon.
I know that's a
Very
question
soon.
we'll get asked at some point.
I'm gonna tell you, if we don't get that in soon, the mother of NerdCon is gonna ground us all.
Yes, yes. No
Is
Cheetos
the,
for us.
is the mother of NerdCon Cassie, or is that somebody else?
Cassie's the aunt of NerdCon.
Yeah,
She's
Okay.
the cool
She's the
cousin
cool
of older cousin of NerdCon, even though we're way older than her.
right. Yeah, no. The mother NerdCon is named Kelly, and she's the one who keeps us all in line. And yeah, we definitely will have all of that coming to you very soon. We're working on it as we speak, so to speak.
Excellent.
And where can people check out for any potential updates for something like that?
So I'm going to tell you guys the best place to follow us is on the Facebook. We live on the Facebook, but we're also on Instagram, and we have our website. It's called nerdconmb.com, www.nerdconmb.com. MB stands for Mont Belvieu. If you're like, why do they have an MB on there? It's for Mont Belvieu. So yeah, they can check us out there.
I thought it was badass.
Yeah. That's that. So you can check any of those three sources. And we'll keep you up to date. And you can see some of our crazy videos. Community engagement that we mentioned was so big to us. The people who are in our videos are people from the community who wanted to be a part of it. Every year we do a big thing where we invite the community to come out and help us make little promotional videos. See our community, see those great cosplayers, the passion that they have for it. And it's going to be so much fun. And so check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and at nerdconmb.com. Or just go up to Eagle Point Rec Center and look for the posters hanging in the window.
Yep.
And for sure, we'll have links to all those down in our descriptions and everywhere. And once again, you can check these guys out on NerdCon October 21st from 10 a.m., 6 p.m. at the Eagle Point Recreational Sports Complex in Mont Belvieu, Texas. Guys, thank you all so much for your time, for telling your story. We're looking forward to seeing another successful con from y'all.
Well, thank you for bringing this to us and having us be a part of it. It means a lot to us. Like I said, any way that we can get the word out to the community, to the people here and beyond, is important. And y'all are the purveyors of this particular type, and we can't thank you enough. And your show is awesome, and we're so happy to be on it.
And hey, just one more question here. For the last word from our team, can we give it to Cassie? Cassie, for our team, take us out.
Oh my gosh, I feel special. Thank you so much.
Special.
Well, I again, just to comment what Jerry said, we appreciate being this. Can't wait to see y'all all there at NerdCon on October 20th. Thank you guys.
All right, and with that, that is our episode of Animated Classified, hosted by AnimeSecrets.org. Check us out at AnimeSecrets.org. We have lots of good stuff coming up in the future, so stay tuned and keep on rocking.